Good evening, YouTube's Mail by way George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, whew, can you believe it? We got one. This is the last full week of September. Wow. I mean, what the world's going on? Seems like, Halloween is coming. Like Halloween is coming. All the spooks are out. I just remember when we used to see that as kids. It can't be around the corner. So is the other holidays. So, folks, we know we just had a big wrap up yesterday. One of the last Olympia qualifications for women's bodybuilding. Shout out to the winner, Desanka Dawson. Amazing lady. She's been competing for quite some time. Shout out to all the competitors that competed the show. Me personally, I feel like could have went a little better. I wish they had pay-per-view for that show, but it didn't. So I had some soldiers on the ground who shared some videos and clips with me, and I was able to keep up with it. So, folks, as you know, I'm always interested in bringing on people on here to share their stories and their path. And here I have a lovely lady who competes in the figure division. Figure, yeah. Some of y'all ladies are really buff, as you know. And she's been in the game quite a bit. She turned pro back in 2023, right?
Right.
Uh-huh. At the Teen Collegiate Show, which is a Masters pro qualifier in Pittsburgh, run by Garrett Unit. She made a pro debut last year at the Florida Pro. That's the show.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And, this year they had a stacked lineup. They had like about nearly 40 women.
It was twice the size of last year. It was crazy to look at. So
yeah, I think because it was so close for Olympic qualification. Because I think there was two shows this weekend that were both the last qualifications for the Olympia for figure, and that's Mitch Trescott won the Sasquatch, and another lady who also won the last week at the Rising Phoenix won also at the San Antonio Pro. She's also was being sponsored by Bad Rap, which was shout out to my friend Eunice Kitchens. Bad Rap. I got put on the hat says rip and define, big and defined, ripped and pumped. We like the rip part. So we welcome here the lovely Mrs. Rebecca Waters. Broadwater. I'm sorry. Your boy Water. I'll say Wayne Waters for you. Water. And she is a figure pro, as I said again. And also she works as a software engineer. Nerd! Sorry, but a pretty nerd.
I am. I am a nerd. I fully admit it.
But a pretty nerd. I'm a football jock myself, so So we're gonna have her share her story, what got her started in bodybuilding, and what her plans. Because, like I said, it's gonna be a new year coming up, folks. There's only a few months left. So welcome, ma'am, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. Not a problem. So, what got the lovely like yourself, a lovely lady like yourself, in this sport, as I call it, muscle and masculinity? Please share.
Quite ironically, it was completely an accident that I got into competing. I really didn't know what it was at first. And in 2011, I joined a gym nearby, and there happened to be a coach in there who put girls in bodybuilding shows. And he comes up to me, he goes, "You should compete." And I'm like, "Okay, what's that?" And I did my first show, and it was totally addicting. I guess once you see it and you see the results and you kind of get the building and stuff like that in the off season, it's you just want to keep doing it. So it just kind of grew from there, and then I moved on to different coaches, and I started in the OCB, and then I switched to the MPC shortly thereafter, and then figures just always been my home. And then I decided pretty quickly, I was like, I want to hit nationals, and then obviously go for the pro card.
And OCB, as anybody knows, is a natural organization. I've interviewed quite a few OCB competitors, and it's like I said, transition from the OCB to NPC. That's a big step.
It was a big step, yes. I've always been kind of like a go big or go home kind of person, and I decided, and I guess figuratively and literally, that I wanted to go play with the big kids in the NPC and see how I stacked up against the best.
Yeah. So, what was that experience like that first time when you competed?
Overwhelming and a blur because it's such an adrenaline rush, I guess, to get into it, and you didn't really take the time to enjoy it as much, and you didn't know what was going on. It was a lot more nerve-wracking. You didn't know how to handle everything from the tan to the makeup, to when you have to be there, what you have to take and stuff like that. So it was cool but overwhelming all at the same time.
hmm Yeah, I mean, it's experience. You got to think about it. You're going out there on a stage in front of a bunch of strangers, being judged for your body.
Yep.
You got people looking at you. You're wearing this little bikini with all sparkles and like that. You might have some guys looking and say, "Who's that blonde in there? Yeah, with the buff muscle." I have to admit my crime for you, Rebecca. Yeah, I am a muscle person. No, y'all ladies, we get muscles in sight. So, and what was that first show for you? Were you always in figure, or you were early? What was your first division?
Figure. I've always been a figure girl. It was initially when this first coach saw me, he was like, "Oh, maybe you could do bikini," because I've always been more slender. And then I started lifting for about 4 or 5 months, and I grew some shoulders real fast. And he's like, "We're not doing bikini. We're going to be doing figure." And there it went. So my first show, and then on, always been a home and figure for me.
Yeah, figure's been around for quite some time. It was, it started, I think, about the good part of the late 90s, early 2000s. It was alternative for ladies who were either too small for women's bodybuilding and didn't want to do all the jump around chicken sweat of fitness.
Mhm.
And, quite a few competitors earned their stripes in that division. One of my favorites is Ashley Jones. For a good long time, she was figure till she switched up. Tara
Mhm.
Cuejo, she also did figure. And also, one of my all-time favorites, I got to talk about her because she's my girlfriend, and that is a beautiful, amazing, and I'm just obsessed over because she's just one of those women that really changed the sport. And that's one Miss Andrea Shaw. I mean, I think she's really, she just regained her title at the Rising Phoenix. So that's last weekend, and she's on the way for her probably her sixth title.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch at the Olympia. Not too
Yeah,
long.
can't wait. Is there anybody in the sport that you follow that you admire?
I more go follow the figure girls. Jessica Reyes Padilla. I definitely follow her a lot. Partially because I'm built a lot like her, so I'm tall as well. Let's see. Of course, Sydney. I followed her a good bit. I got into following some of the other girls. Missy was actually the fitness girl that just switched to figure, so that's been an interesting kind of transition to follow. I see why she did it, but she was actually the one who initially inspired me to go with the braids on stage. So I don't know if you saw her a few years ago. She did
Yeah,
some
yeah,
blue tipped braids, and I was like, "Ooh, that's pretty cool."
yeah.
So those are the ones I usually follow, but I just love the sport anyway. It's just competitive. It's nice to see people push themselves and see what they can do.
Yeah, it's a kind of sport, especially for the aspects we look at women, because this is something that most people don't think women should have muscles. You shouldn't do a sport like this. It's very extreme. It's just there's so much involved with it as you grow and develop as an athlete. We
Mhm.
have here shout out to our man Alex coming through. Shout out to Alex says, "Hey George, hello Rebecca, nice to meet you." My little man Alex is my little nephew here. He comes
Oh.
out. We do a podcast on Monday. He's always there hanging out. I appreciate his support. I got to meet him a while back when I went to Tampa. It was a great opportunity for me to go there. You know, um, now okay, now you turned pro back in
Mhm.
2023, and
Right.
you did the teen collegiate show, which is they call it the Masters
Nationals.
Nationals. What was that experience like when they told you now you're IFBB pro?
It was surreal at first. I get asked this one for a good bit. Yeah, it was very, very surreal. It doesn't really hit you initially. And then the national shows start coming around that are the pro qualifiers again. And that's when it kind of started to hit me almost like, oh, I don't do North Americans anymore. And I made it past that point, and it was like kind of a delayed reaction, if that makes sense. 'Cause-
Yeah, it's understandable because you know what you got to think about it. There's a lot of I know quite a few ladies who competed for a long time in the NPC
Mhm.
and never turned pro, and some ladies that competed for a long time and then finally get a pro card. It's an
Mhm.
experience. I recently just interviewed one lady who told me that the day she got a pro card, she just didn't know what to do. She was crying, she's falling apart.
Mhm.
One lady told me she afterwards she puked because
I
it
didn't
was
do
just
that.
it was just an experience because you got to think about it. You're going on a stage and competing with somebody else, other bunch
Mhm.
of other competitors who want to get shot to get their pro card. And if you do like something like the nationals, top two competitors in their class get their pro card, and you just do the overall, see who becomes the overall champion. And then with
Mhm.
shows like the North Americans and also the Teen Collegiate and others, it's just a one shot opportunity to get a pro card. I know I just had the North Americans a while back. I saw one little lady. I think she got like four pro cards.
Mhm. Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I even one lady she had three pro cards, two in figure and one in physique. Here's the thing, folks. I actually remember seeing her a while back. I interviewed Shannon Leister, call her Tink, and and she used to be, used to hang with her, and this is her, and
Mhm.
also a legendary Rachel Cannon, and there's Shannon. That was about a couple years ago, and now Shannon's IB Pro, and
Yep.
Rachel, she's been in the game for a long time. I mean, and yeah, you are a tall chick.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, Rochelle's maybe 5'1", if that.
Yeah.
Shannon's much shorter than me. I'm about 5'8".
Yeah. I know with women, I think figures. I think it's a division that's good for women who are a little taller compared
It
to
is.
look at. Yeah, I think if you look at certain divisions, if you look at like certain body types fit certain divisions, like if you look at wellness, it's more for
Hmm.
the women who are more of these pear shape in the bottom,
Hmm.
good density in the quads, but still have that bikini top.
Hmm.
And then you look at divisions like figure and fitness, they kind of run together in a way, the taller
Hmm.
competitors. And you look at bikini, more, you know, the beach girl look, but now you got the new division coming up, excuse me, hop, fit model. I just don't, maybe just me. I'm just me being a fan of the sport. I feel like you're trying to bring in a division that's going to end up the division that you're supposed to replace. And that's what they did with women's physique, because it's supposed to replace women's bodybuilding. But now
Hmm.
you look at division, how so close, even though the opposing skill sets are different,
Hmm.
it looks so close. Like you've been competing for quite a while. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I kind of like how they're catering to multiple body types. Like, there's lots of different builds out there. There was, they added in wellness because it was the girls couldn't get the upper body. They didn't have the build for figure, but they were too, I mean, obviously jacked in the legs to do bikini. So then, then you added in the fit model, and it was to give the people that don't get it as shredded and hard looking. So I kind of
Yeah.
like the expansion. You include more. So.
Yeah. And over the men's division, you have men's classic, you have men's physique, you
Mhm.
have 212. But I think with men, we have a specific body type. We come you know like built a certain way. Even though I'm built like
Mhm.
I should be a tub or something, but every man's different, just like a woman is. So, folks, what we're going to do while we have Rebecca here, we're going to jump into her social media for a little bit. If you want
Okay.
to follow her, her links in the description of the live. You want to check her out, follow her progress as a bodybuilder, or just reaching genuine interests. These ladies can use support. But guys, there's no offense to her. I know she's a lovely lady. She's time here to talk to me. No weird stuff. Guys, stop it. I've been in this for a while. Ladies, tell me some stories, guys. Like I said, there's guys out there. We see y'all ladies all buff and beautiful. We just can't help ourselves. But some guys need to know how to behave a little better.
Yeah, those kind of actually aren't the worst ones, ironically, but yeah, there's
Yeah,
the real creepy kinds.
yeah. I heard the stories here. So, folks, we're gonna jump into her social media for a little bit, and here she is, and right here is she is. This is nice. This is she just did the Atlanta Pro,
Hmm.
just last month. Wow, it's a pretty big show. I mean, it's promoted by Linda Murray and Wings of Strength.
Hmm.
What's that experience like there in Atlanta?
Wild. That was the first one I did this year. I actually did three in a row, 3 weeks in a row.
Oh,
Um, it was really cool to see all the big names and everything like that, but it's also a little overwhelming at the same time. But it was a really neat experience. Very cool stage and everything. Wonderful backstage experience.
yeah, no, I've heard it's a pretty popular show. As you
Hmm.
know, the week before, like I think actually a couple of weeks ago, I went to the Tampa Bay Pro, help my friend
Hmm.
out, and it was cool to be there and meet some especially ladies I interviewed and some ladies I follow on social media. I mean, it's great. Here's this: be kind to yourself. That's so nice.
Hmm.
That's daily affirmation, and I think that's important for anybody in the sport. You need because
Right.
this sport can be so physical, mental, emotional, and
Mhm.
also financially draining on anybody.
Yes, all of the above, especially if you're in prep and the mental stuff starts to get to you. You kind of got to remember to take it easy on yourself because you really are doing a lot.
Yeah, you should. And you said you did 3 shows back to back. What was the other
Mhm.
2 shows?
I did the Maryland Night of Champions and then Masters World in Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah, because that was a big weekend. Because also the North Americans.
Mhm.
I know one lady I follow, Nina Bean's got a pro card there. couple ladies I know also did pretty good. Winning their clothes, getting their some ladies getting their qualification for the Masters O in 2027, and
Hmm.
and also the thing about you, we said earlier, you are nerd. So, so what got you into software?
Oh goodness, that goes way back. I was always good at math growing up, more oriented towards that and towards like the arts and whatnot. And I wanted something that I could use that skill, but it was also lucrative and I could get a job in it. I didn't want to be one of those people that was graduating from school, standing there holding this piece of paper and a bunch of bills or something like that, and not be able to get employed with it. So computer science is a very lucrative degree. It's very easy to get jobs in it, and it just was a good fit.
hmm And how long you been doing that? The
Oh,
software.
about 25 years since 2001. I started when I was 19.
Wow, technology has advanced over the last few years, especially
Oh, yeah.
what stuff with IG, social media.
Hmm.
I'm kind of an old fuddy duddy. It took me a long time before I got my own cell phone. So, so what would you say as a person like yourself who gets into sport? What do you like about it the most?
Oh goodness. I mean, it's fun to get glammed up. That part is pretty cool. It's a nice, contrast to my day job, which is very formal, I guess is the way to put it. The other things are just the lifestyle habits you learn, the eating habits, it gives you longevity. You learn things that will basically keep you young. I mean, to me, I found the fountain of youth, and I will always be grateful to the bodybuilding world for that, for teaching me how to eat right.
hmm Yeah, I think I met some ladies who are much mature, who got in sport later in life, and found that it kind of one thing it doesn't stop Father Time, but you can't
Hmm.
halt it a little bit. You can slow it down some. Like,
Hmm.
most everyday person you talking about when you work out, I just want to get toned. I just want to,
Hmm.
tone a little bit. Give me a 5 pound weight and that's enough. But
Boom.
for you ladies, there's more to this.
Yes.
It's important to, for one thing, people got to recognize that the consistency of the sport, the
Hmm.
persistence, there's so much that right. The other day, everyday person can be easily derailed because they don't
Hmm.
have discipline. Because
Right.
motivation can go out the window.
Right. Yeah, you have to be very consistent, very disciplined, and the character traits it's built to me, I guess, have been, like I said, I'll just be grateful for it for the rest of my life. You take that, you can apply it anywhere, from work to, dealing with pets and family and stuff like that. Like it's good for everything.
Yeah, I think at one point I was like a few years ago I was taking my mom for a long time, and
Hmm.
just with her after she passed, I realized I got to take it myself because at one point I was almost 500 pounds. I'm right now about 230 because
Hmm.
it's hard to try to be disciplined and keep a
Hmm.
diet and try to I used to work out a good bit, but right now I got two bad knees like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Hmm.
It takes a lot to push yourself
It
to
does.
do what y'all do and not to have that discipline that you have.
It does, and I will say a lot of people don't have it, or they want to get something for free or cheap or something. So that's why you have all the fat burners and everybody running for Ozempic and stuff like that. But ultimately, the best thing you can do is just eat consistently and then train consistently.
hmm We have here a shot from my man Alex coming through again. He says, he will ask you this question. So Rebecca, since you specialize in software, in your opinion what's your opinion on AI? I think it's taking jobs away from people, especially in art. They took their jobs. So
Oh, that's quite a question. That's a good one right there. The techie dorky side of me, I guess you would want to call it. AI is cool, but it's also kind of scary how it's getting that information and what it's tracking in you to find that information or train like voice recognition engines and stuff like that. As far as taking away from the art, I don't see it's ever going to totally replace people. There's that certain human feeling aspect that I don't know if we'll ever be able to capture with machines. It can definitely generate stuff, but I have yet to see anything that's really that good that you couldn't tell a little bit that something was off with the AI. Like, I don't know if you feel that way too. Like, I've seen stuff that's supposedly pretty good and scams and things like that. They were AI generated, but there's still something a little not quite right that if you paid attention, you wouldn't get sucked into it. So that's a good question, though.
Yeah. The thing is that with us humans, we have a particular thing about art and passion. And that's something the
Mhm.
machine doesn't have.
Yeah.
Machine just go by numbers and by data and this and that.
Hmm.
But a human, we go by our feelings or emotion. Like, do this
Hmm.
content about you ladies. I enjoy talking to y'all. That's the emotion part about it. I could be cold hearted
Yeah.
and say, where do you come from? Who you are?
Right.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And it's good to have good conversation with, like, when I do my interviews, like, my style is I don't have like a set list of questions. Sometimes I like
Right.
it's like we're on our first date. You're on my date tonight, and we like to have a good back and forth.
Yep.
And that's the thing is that's what separates machine from man. Machine
Hmm.
does have a purpose, but it has limits. It can do a lot more than men, but when it comes to emotionals and heart part and care and stuff, like, I think one time we were talking about how maybe in the future there'll be more judgings by machines at shows over human judges. What do you think about that?
I don't know how that could happen because of the so many different body types and such like that. Like, and how would you teach a machine to, is the shape or the conditioning better for somebody or something along those lines? Like, I don't know how you could train a machine to do that kind of thing. And then ultimately, it could come down to like two people in posing. Like, so how do you teach a machine that, so and so's posing was better? Like, this twist was better than that twist and stuff like that just doesn't seem like you'd want a machine involved in making that decision. I would be
Yeah, that's
very
good.
dependent. You'd be very dependent on teaching it correctly and training the AI right, and then that's a lot of human error there that could be happening.
Like, one thing, some places like law enforcement, they do a lot of facial recognition,
Hmm.
and that's something like you can set up like a score sheet or something like that, and just
Hmm.
feed
Yeah.
it to the computer, and they just, because sometimes I just saw a show where I saw some women that looked like they didn't place as well as they should have, and I think sometimes also the emotional factor goes into it, because sometimes we be rooting for somebody, and then like, oh, yeah, she should have did better than that, or yeah. But sometimes the judges see something that we may not see. Sometimes we might be a little
Mhm.
prejudiced in that favor.
Yeah, I mean, the criteria is the criteria, and ultimately it does come down to like a decision. Somebody has to make it, and there could be several people that are extremely good, and it was very hard to pick. So you just don't know. Like I've learned a lot working behind the scenes. It's so a lot goes into it, way more, and it having worked with the NPC and stuff like that, it's you know uh, it gives you a whole new level of respect for what goes into producing a show. Like I had no idea until I did it. So
What kind of work you did for the NPC?
I do the scorekeeping. I'm a tabulator.
Oh, so that's why I got you, because you're a nerd. You like computing math like that,
So I got it.
Yeah. So, man, Alex, he backs you up. He says, I don't think you're a dork. I have been drawing without using AI. I
Hmm.
graduated from art college, and I still have that passion. Yeah, it's good for you, brother. Yeah, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. And it's good that you found a function with the NPC where
Hmm.
your skills in software and also your math skills helps, because tabulating those things, getting together. Some people may not know how to count to five.
Yep. I mean, everybody's got their talents. We'll say that.
So anyway, what's it like for you, like during your week when you're, especially what's the day like for Miss Broadwater, as a competitor, and just not just, how you do week style. Like, what's the plan? What do you do, like, between your training and anything else?
I will what a normal day for me is like is very different if I'm prepping or not. So I mean, if to give you an example, like in prep, like you're getting up, you're doing your cardio. Best thing I ever did was buy a stepper and put it in my garage, so that made getting fasted cardio done much easier. So get up, have breakfast, walk the dog. Then I go work for the day. I'm very fortunate I work at home, and then I'll usually go train sometime in the late afternoon. And then there's usually more cardio, more dog walking, and of course you're eating pretty much nonstop. Off season is a little more relaxed. I don't have to be in the gym like every day. So I lift 4 to 5 days a week, and it's more focused on the actual length and lifting and putting on the size and the muscle and stuff like that. And I get more time in recovery. I get to go to the infrared sauna and all that kind of good stuff, and spend more time with friends, family, and just in general decompress from the prep season.
Yeah, I mean, the season, as you know, is winding down because I
Hmm.
said earlier, a couple of shows were qualifiers for this year's Olympia. Then it's
Hmm.
going to pick up later on because there's some qualifiers for next year's Olympia. I mean, there's a lot to do as a bodybuilder: the prep,
Hmm.
the training. Like,
Hmm.
what would you think would you like to change if you could in the sport?
What do I like to change? Like in what regard? Like as far as.
Like the criteria is just it's steadily evolving. If you look at now, if you look at how the figure division is looking, you look at some top competitors. I'm seeing girls in figure that should do women's physique. I'm seeing women's physique, competitors should be doing women's bodybuilding. You think
Mm,
that they should stick to the criteria based on that division, or you feel like it's going like all over the place with it?
it's an art. So the criteria are their guidelines, and there's always going to be a gray area between them. And there's always going to be, in the eyes of the beholder as well. So you put all those things together, it's kind of hard to say like this one's wrong and this one's right, that kind of thing. Yes, there are some glaring examples some once in a while, but for the most part, they're fairly different, but there's a lot of overlap between figure and physique, for example. That it's some overlap between figure and wellness. It's just a kind of a figure girl that may be with a little less shoulders, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm not pretty much like an outsider looking in, but I do see some aesthetics. I think they need to maybe concentrate more on that particular division and focus on its growth instead of trying to pass it off as something else. Because instead of getting with physique, it was supposed to be like alternative with bodybuilding, but getting so close to the look. If you look at it now, and people like Jessica Rhea Padilla, she's another level. One person I like is Lola Montez. I think I'm rooting for Lola. I'm Team Lola for this Olympia.
She is cool.
Yeah,
She's very good. She's got incredible stage presence. So.
yeah. She has a great look to it. I mean, we've talked before a few times on social media. I enjoyed, like I said, I enjoyed the opportunity to talk to you ladies. Now, for this season, how you feel like you may need the improvements on? Like, who's your coach and how long y'all been together?
Well, I've been on my own this year, so I've yeah. Weirdly enough, well, not too weirdly if you really think about it. The like all the meal planning and all that stuff appeals to my analytical side. So as far as the macro computing and stuff like that, what you're supposed to eat, and figuring out the right caloric deficit and stuff to drop the weight evenly, like all that stuff is very appealing to me. So I like writing up that kind of stuff. I like writing up workout plans and doing my own workout programming.
That's right. Not a lot of competitors say they do everything on their own. They always have a coach. You might have a one coach for your posing, one coach for your overall prep, and one coach for your
Mhm.
nutrition. But
You can do that.
it's yeah. But like I said again, you're a very intelligent woman. You know how to figure out things and how to set them up and work to your
Mhm.
favor. Like the last show, you did like I said again, you did the world master championship. What was critique from the judges? What do you feel like they told you might need to work on?
It's what I knew, and I would have placed better had I come in more conditioned and more separated, especially in my legs. So I was told a few years ago, it's kind of comical that I'm thick-skinned in more than one way. So I have to come in a little leaner and drier because my skin is thick. But on the flip side, it kind of helps me stay younger looking. So it's a pro and a con at the same time.
So you mean you have thick skin like you like the Rhino from the Marvel movies? You
Yeah, and
just
you also have to be thick-skinned in the sport anyway to take the criticism and all that
yeah.
kind of good stuff.
Doing this, yeah, I've like make comments and somebody say, "Hey, you shouldn't say that." Hey, it's just me as a person, as a fan, making a comment. Like if I see something, I say, I don't like it, and everybody's like, "Hey, you shouldn't say that." Here, it's just me giving my opinion. What's wrong
Mhm.
with? Well, we know what's wrong with this country right now. But I'm not gonna get to that too much. But I think everybody has those things that they work with. That's their strengths and their
Mhm.
weakness. Like when you're in the gym, what's that like when you like work it out? What's that workout you say? I love it to do it. I just love it. And then one says, damn, why I gotta do that shit?
As far as exercises go, Oh goodness. Okay, I am not a fan of the hack squat, but it produces results. I'll say that. Me and that thing do not get along. I love any kind of back workout though. That's the most fun workout for me.
Yeah. I think, especially in your division, you really want to bring your back. I know I saw this one video
Mhm.
lady said, where she said that you want your smaller waist, just make your back bigger
To a
because
certain extent. Yeah.
yeah, because the back is the important part when it comes to figure because you want those round cap shoulders, you want that nice V tape, you want to go into waist, but if you don't got a
Mhm.
small natural waist, you have to really work more on your back. Quite a few, especially with figure, quite a few y'all ladies in figure. That's the thing you work on the most. I think
Mhm.
the number one least favorite, if you can ask anybody, Bill, like you mentioned hack squat, is leg day. No one loves leg day. It's like it, it's like the episode when Dave Chappelle was playing Rick James,
Oh
and he
God.
meets yeah, you remember that when they meet
Yes.
they meet Charlie Murphy, and they go back to Eddie's house and say, F your couch, Eddie Murphy, F your couch, and Charlie and Eddie are beating his legs. Say, what are my legs, Eddie Murphy? What are my legs? That's I have had some ladies told me, oh, they love leg day. I tell them, you are a masochistic creature. Yeah, who loves leg day? I mean, I said, no, George, I love it. It just feels so good. The pain, feel the pain, love the pain. Some people just, like my other guy was saying, they just creatures of habit. They just love
Mhm.
just anarchy and chaos.
Yep.
Rebecca, they just love that, the pain of it. Me, I just love things like gasoline and dynamite. But oh, before I leave you, Rebecca, I want to tell you something. Oh, you are beautiful.
Silly. And thank
I
you.
am so sorry about him. I try to keep him under control the best I can,
Okay.
but So now that your season's done, what's the
Mhm.
what's the plan for 2025? I mean, 2026. Can't believe it.
I know it's scary, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
2026 next year.
yeah, just
So,
3 months away.
mhm. Build my legs more, especially my quads. I actually, quite ironically, I used to be bottom heavy years ago, and so I had somebody advise me to let my legs come down, which I shouldn't have done. And so I have to bring my legs back up to now match my upper body, which pretty much overpowers everything, especially my back. So it's not a bad problem to have too much back and shoulders, but I need legs that go with it.
Yeah, you want the full package. You want the good back. You want
Mhm.
the good legs. You don't want it to be feel like wonky. You want to like
No.
your legs. Yeah, you don't want your legs not to come in, but your back's coming in, and then you don't want your back not coming
Mhm.
in, your legs coming in. You want everything to
Exactly.
come together.
hmm I need my I need my quad sweep to match the width of my lats and that kind of thing. So fill
Mhm.
in my inner quad a little bit, just get the separation better, which it should come back this year.
Yeah, it's a like bodybuilding is a process. It's about taking the time to work, to build, develop, and again, it can be a lot on anybody. The physical aspects, the mental aspects, the financial aspects. Like I often say, like this: the financial part, I think, is one of the biggest part about the sport because, like any other sport, if you look at the mainstream sports, hey, you can make a living off of it. Yeah, you can, but your job is mostly paying for you to compete.
hmm
If you're lucky enough, you get prize money. It's not much. If you
No.
do a show, especially you do masters too, don't you?
hmm
So you have to pay to play.
It depends on the show, yeah.
Yeah, and that's
So,
that's a expense between the cost of your suits, travel,
hmm
food. You don't have a coach. That's one thing you save money right there.
hmm
And also, the presentation. Like you gotta get your hair done because you got a lot of hair to work on. You gotta get your
hmm
makeup done. Yeah. You got. I get my braids. I get the hair. I don't got any. I gotta get this on my head. And
Yes,
I
you're
say
very
like
lucky.
this. Yeah, I know. I gotta. It's maybe a few months. I get a shave. It's about that time for me. But that's the thing. When it comes to the men, all they gotta wear a pair of banana hammocks and board shorts. That's it. The tan. That's
hmm
about it. You
hmm
ladies have to. I think lady told me like this. Like this. George says show day is our most expensive day because we have to get our counting tan,
hmm
counting our hair, our makeup, our
hmm
nails, our posing suits right there. That is like somebody's rent, their mortgage, or their car note, depending on what kind of suit you're getting.
Yeah.
And then if you do win, you're lucky enough to get maybe about $300 or $400 if you do masters, or If you do the open, you might be lucky to get
Mhm.
$5,000. While you
Right.
see the guy over there walking away with like 20 grand.
It is what it is at this point, and it's evening out. So I have mixed feelings on it. Like, it's on one hand, like if men are a bigger draw, then why not pay them more? But it should even out a bit.
Well, it's true with sports. Always that men are gonna get more attention. Like if you look at WNBA
Mhm.
compared to NBA, if you
That's a
look
good
at
example.
yeah. Like I used to do interviews and content with women in mixed martial arts. And the
Mhm.
male fighters get more attention than the female fighters.
Exactly.
I mean, it's always gonna be like that. Women say like we should get paid equally, but here's it like this: like you have shows like the Arnold Classic where the top male competitor is gonna get nearly $1 million. Same thing with
Mhm.
the Olympia. While division like people like Andrea might get a few little bit of change, and or like people like Sarah or whoever's in division is your division is open now. You
Mhm.
know who, like I said again, I know who you're rooting for, Jessica, right?
I mean, I have to, yeah. I also have a soft spot for Puerto Rico, so I used to live there a while back, but so that's kind of why. That's another story in itself.
Puerto Rico. Ay, mommy. You a Blanco walking around there with the Puerto Ricans. Oh, yeah.
It was a fun year.
It was a fun year. Yeah, I mean, what was it like? Were was it just you, family, friends, or just you?
Mm-mm. Actually, ironically, my first job used to send me down there for work, and we'll say I went through a divorce from a poorly thought out marriage, and I was like, I need to get away, and so I ended up in Puerto Rico for a year. And just put my
Yeah,
car on a boat, and there we went.
yeah. Oh, that's good. Because if we all know Puerto Rico is U.S. territory. You don't need a passport or
Mm-mm.
anything. You can just fly out there and boom, boom, back. I know. Was it this year? I went to Tampa. I took a train, and
Mhm.
next year I'm thinking about getting myself one of those weird, those real passes, the real ID with the star on it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of I'm getting to the point where what I'm kind of hesitate because there used to be a TV show called 18 with Mr. T, and he also used to do it. Every time you get on a plane, say, "Fool, I don't want to get on a plane." You just put something in his food to make him go to sleep and get on the plane. But you know what? It's not as bad as a lot of people think it is. I know I have family members that flew on the plane, and maybe, like I said, it's time for me. I'm old country boy, ma'am. I just go by my old ways. That's how I was raised. But it's time to
Mhm.
be more open. Like being a bodybuilder, it's a sport that's
Mhm.
very not stereotypical for a woman.
Mhm. It's not.
Yeah.
That's for sure. You can tell by how you're received by the general public usually, because it's a big dude walks through a store. It doesn't cause nearly the commotion as a jacked woman if they walk through a store.
Yeah, I think ladies tell me that sometimes they have different kind of point of views. You see, I think with children they're a little more open minded. With older
Mhm.
people, they can be more prejudiced, and then women they can be the worst because women y'all can be catty.
Mhm.
Because I grew up with three older sisters. My mom, I used to work in textiles for 13 years with women, and had another job where I worked in gentlemen's club. So I mean I worked with women at the night too. And sometimes people got to understand this is about you. This is something
Mhm.
that you found that you enjoy doing. But
Mhm.
if you don't like it, then that's your problem, not yours.
That's correct, but most people are very insecure and feel the need to project that onto other people, and that's not a female or thing. That's a across the board thing. You'll get insulted by men, you'll get insulted by women. It happens way more than what you would expect.
Yeah, I know because I've seen sometimes like I post stuff on my social media because my most of my content is about women bodybuilding, and I post something like if I post a picture like someone like I just post a picture of a couple. You heard Christine Mendoza. She's gonna switch over to wellness in the near future because after last year she didn't do as well. And I post something like that. I have guys saying, "Wow, she's beautiful." Yeah, wow. She's like. Then I had the other guy. Is that a dude? Is that a I said, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Where do you see a dude at? This woman's wearing a bikini. She's very attractive. She has a nice body. I mean, I don't see, and that's the thing, it's always going to be that issue. Here's the thing I say like this: being a man is not physical, it's a state of mind. I grew up with, like I said, I do have my mother and my older sisters, but also I had my older brother and my uncles and my grandfather in my life, and they taught me things that man need to do. A woman will teach you things that you need to do as an adult, but being a
Mhm.
man is not a physical thing; it's a state of mind.
It's a learned behavior, and people also don't necessarily know what a man is supposed to be and like how a man is supposed to act. Yeah. Like I said, I've had many stories in that arena. So.
Yeah, because I know I've talked to ladies that sometimes when they got into bodybuilding, the
Hmm.
relationship changed because, especially if they're married or had a boyfriend, because
Hmm.
they're doing something that's not stereotypical feminine in the mindset of the everyday person. So, like, somebody got divorced or broke up. Sometimes you get lucky. You have somebody who
Hmm.
wants to support you. You mean, if you were divorced before you were married and it didn't work out for you, but it doesn't mean that you can't find somebody who say, you know what, I love you for you. But then also you have to worry about there are those guys out there,
Hmm.
and I know because I know I have my crime again. I'm one of them. But I got to learn with my conversation with you ladies that it's not all about sunshine and rainbows. It's
Hmm.
about being productive, being consistent, and also loving what you do in the sport and loving yourself too.
Yes, you have to definitely be secure, and yeah, that's the only word I can come up with. Like you have to be confident in yourself because you'll get, as like I said, as many insults as you will get compliments. Like, and I don't know if I'm the only one. I don't go out and socialize much. I don't generally go out much at all. I tend to keep to myself, and a lot of it is the lifestyle. Like I'm at the point now where I just don't want to mess up my sleep schedule. It sounds it sounds really dorky and everything like that and whatnot, but I'm like, I need to be able to sleep. That's when you recover, stuff like that. I
Yeah,
can't be out till 2 in the morning anymore.
like I said, my old job used to work till about 3 o'clock in the morning. Had to come home, go to work the next day. That's when I was younger. I'm not a young man anymore, Rebecca. I'm an old,
Hmm.
broken down hunk of man. But that's the important part about it, your mindset. Because
Hmm.
if people don't respect who you are as a person, as a woman, as an athlete,
Hmm.
they need to go ahead and just move on. I mean, again, if people make comments like, "Yo, how masculine man you are," that's one side. Then you have the other side would say, "Wow, Becca, you got some big buff muscles. Can I send you these pictures of me?" But I guess I see that look on your face. I heard the stories. I heard the stories.
Yeah, can you send me your gym socks and stuff like that? And yeah, oh yes.
I tell you, this is a true story. And a friend of mine, he's IFB pro. He told me he used to, when he was competing back in the day, he used to hang out with Jay Cutler. This is a true
Mhm.
story. And he told me this. Jay used to do this. When he used to work out, he used to send his, because as a bodybuilder, you don't make a lot of money, especially you don't get until you start getting into the big shows. He
Mhm.
used to sell his old workout gear to some dude.
Mhm.
And one day, he forgot, he took his clothes and he washed them. And I said, "Oh my God, I forgot." So he sprayed it down with water, and just sent it off to the dude. Next thing you know, it came back, returned to sender. And it said, the letter said, "It doesn't smell like you."
Jesus. Wow. Yeah, that's about
Uh,
right. That's pretty typical.
yeah, but you got to think about it. Some competitors don't have the luxury of, like you said, you have a nice stay-home job. Some people are like, in cases you have sometimes, steal for Paul to pay Peter. You have to. It's like this, as I said, like this. There's certain sites that cater to a fantasy, and that's what it is. Some
Mhm.
guys do fantasize about women with muscle, or just women in general. And some women do it because they make a living. Because, as I said again, this sport is not lucrative unless you are the few one percenters who like guys like Bumstead or Sid or
Mhm.
one guy who would get to meet who was a former Mr. Olympia, Derek Lunsford. I got to meet
Mhm.
him when I was in Tampa, or even Samson. Those guys, they make a good living from it. But for everybody else, how I say it like this, you get your boots in the ground, 10 toes down. You're still in the trenches.
Mhm. You learn to juggle it all. I mean, I don't make excuses. I'm very lucky with my job and everything, but I've also had jobs where I had to go to the office and I had to figure out how to make it work. And it's like everything else in life. You figure out how bad you want it, if you want to do it, and you don't make excuses. So that one always gets to me a little bit because I get told that, the reason I look like do at my age and the reason I've been successful is because, I'm single and I don't have kids. I'm like, okay, so, and this is that one usually comes from women. The kids comment that, you have a six pack because you don't have kids. I'm like, well, you're insulting every chick that I compete with, and most of them have kids, like, and more than one kid too. So, don't make
Yeah.
excuses and put me down to make yourself feel better and make up for your lack of discipline and effort.
Yeah, I know a bodybuilder who has 5 kids, and she
I
looks
know.
great. She looks amazing.
No sign that they had kids. None.
Jessica, she has a son.
Mhm.
I think Lola has a couple of kids, I believe. I think everybody is not like me. I'm see with men, we can be single, no kids. We can be like Bruce Wayne. I'm Bruce Wayne without the Batman and the billions. That's we'll give that allowance. But that's one of my grits. Never, like I said, like that. I was always working. Never really. I live in a
Mhm.
small town. I gotta be careful. I don't be messing with a second or first cousin or something like that. I mean, I mean, I
Okay.
didn't go out a lot. Me, I could tell you, I didn't go out a lot,
Mm-mm.
other than maybe with my friends and homeboys hang out. And I didn't have relationships. I had relations, but
Mhm.
nothing serious. We had a good time. We understood what it was, and that was it. Nothing
Mhm.
serious. But maybe I should have pushed it more. Maybe there's some ladies that I probably could have. I pushed it more, maybe, but maybe because I'm. Some people are solitary creatures of nature.
Mhm.
Sometimes you don't mind being alone, And like I said, I came from a big family. I got nieces and nephews, great nieces and nephews, and I
Mhm.
love them, but they're doing their own life. And here's the thing is, it's nothing wrong if you don't have kids. You got your dog. What kind of dog is it? How old is he?
He just turned 1 and he is a little wild man. He is like a German Shepherd Husky pit bull mix. So yeah, he's something else for sure.
Yeah, I know quite a few babies who have pets, and that's the like. I don't call myself if I had a pet. I don't call myself a parent. I just own the thing. Hey, yeah, he eats what I feed him, and that's about it. But people like my one of my sisters, she had poodles. She loved
Mhm.
the poodles. They were her babies. When my sister married, she passed away like a long time ago, and those were babies. I remember one time I was sick. I had pneumonia, and she came to visit my mom. Mom was old. She's an old fashioned woman. She didn't believe in dogs in the house, but she gave some leeway to my sister's poodles. I'm just
Mhm.
laying because I couldn't sleep at night, and sometimes I'd go in the living room and watch TV and lay there. And my sister visited to see how you doing, George. I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then the little poodle get on my chest and just look at me and just lay there. I fell asleep. I think that's the thing about animals and children. They don't judge and they love you unconditionally.
That's it, yeah. Especially animals. Kids will outgrow that at some point.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I know that kids are like, I love you. Say, nah, yeah, I don't want you to touch me. I say, whoa, hey, where man?
Mhm.
I used to remember, used to smell you like a baby, and now my baby's having babies.
Mhm. And then they learn
So
how to talk and stuff like that, and then it's all
yeah,
over.
yeah, yeah. It's in once they start walking. I remember one time my nephew brought my great niece over to the house. He had to go off for a little bit. He's just walking up the road. She started running. I'm running after her. I said, stop, stop. I said, and a couple of neighbor kids caught her because they were faster than I was. But yeah, that's the thing about that. So one thing I ask you, ladies, this is something, as you know, as a fat man, I love food. And, food is
Oh.
part of the process of bodybuilding. And share with me, Rebecca. What was that thing after your last show? That thing that you wanted the most? That thing that you desired? Mm.
Oh, I'm horrible to ask. How I ended up in bodybuilding as a foodie is, sometimes baffling to me and many people because I grew up on candy and probably with some of the worst dietary habits you could ever imagine and stuff. Yeah, and my parents just didn't know any better, and they got better like as we got older and stuff. But oh goodness, and then once I can have it again, I don't really crave it as much anymore. It's like the whole forbidden fruit thing. So because I can't have it in prep, like I'll want donuts or something like that. I don't even like donuts that much for the most part. Like I do, but it's not like I go nuts over them. I get into prep and it's like I want to go to Krispy Kreme every day for some reason.
Oh God, I
And
could.
there's a drive-through right near my house as well. Like it's a drive-through, so I could sneak right on through if I wanted.
When that when that light is red, they're fresh, just fresh out of the oven, just freshly fried. I used to remember my
Oh
younger
yeah.
brother. He stayed in an apartment was just a half a block from the Krispy Kreme. And I was
Mhm.
just one day visiting. We're sitting here. We are going to watch the game. He said, "I'm gonna get a couple of beers. You want anything?" No, I'm good. I might walk past the Krispy Kreme. Give me a couple of donuts and some milk. So it's just that's I think quite ladies who love food because you know what the food is both it's a tool and a weapon for a bodybuilder, but
Mhm.
also when it's the right something that tastes good, something that's sweet, something
Mhm.
salty, something greasy. It's just
Mhm.
you have to it's denying your body that it's not that you need it, it's that you want it, and when you taste it,
Mhm.
it's like reformer. It's like excuse me, you might say sometimes it's better than sex.
Yeah, I have to say I'm a sucker for things like crispy chicken tenders.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and as much as I hate to admit it, I don't know if you have a place called Royal Farms near you,
No,
but
no, no, no.
they have phenomenal fried chicken and stuff like that, and crispy chicken tenders and Western fries and stuff like that. So I usually head right on over there. That's one of my
I
first steps.
I have my aunt used to live in Bmore, and you around the Bmore area,
Yeah,
and yeah, and also have cousins in New Jersey. I know of Roy Rogers. I don't know if it's still around anymore.
there's not a lot of those. I can't say I've been to them in a while, and I've also I like the fried stuff, but since I don't eat it that much, it doesn't like me too much anymore. I'm not used to eating that kind of thing, like dairy either.
Yeah, I know one thing. That's one thing I kind of take out of my diet. I do. I might get cheese every now. I don't drink milk like I used to. I try to get with some ice cream,
Mhm.
but I do cheese every now and then because cheese gets good on a burger.
Okay.
And I grew up country. We used to fry by everything. Like I remember one lady told me her thing was she loved sushi. I looked at her and said, "Sushi? Yeah."
Mm.
I told her this, ma'am. I grew up a poor country boy, but not that poor where I ate cold raw fish. So that's just
I just
yeah.
don't like fish that much, which has always been a source of problems in bodybuilding because I don't want to eat tilapia or cod or anything like that. I don't like salmon and all that kind of stuff.
I don't. Like I say, I don't. I ain't fish myself for a long time. I had a bone cut my throat when I was young. I just didn't want to eat fish anymore. I do like
Mhm.
shrimp. Like I'm like
That I
bubblegum.
love.
I like shrimp. I like shrimp with barbecue, shrimp, boiled shrimp, shrimp, that. And
Mhm.
you can just many things to do with shrimp. So
Mhm.
but that's the thing is that the food is a important part of your diet. It's supposed to be part of your
Mhm.
process. It's there to help you grow because most people
Mhm.
think this is the thing about people think about steroids, about bodybuilding. It's nothing but steroids. You just pop these pills. You just gotta take this. That's fine. You be like Schwarzenegger, and then you be like the Hulk. But it's said again, it's about following diet, being consistent,
It
being
is.
persistent. The training. It's not just popping what pills in your gut and see you can build.
It's yeah, it's genetics and your training and your what you're eating predominantly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I say, you doing all this own. I mean, that's a hard trick to do, trying to be competitive and do it on your own. We are here. Shout out to man, Rick Higgins says, "What up, George? Hello there, Rebecca. Happy Sunday to you both. I appreciate it, man. Happy Sunday to you. Can you believe it? God, time is flying by.
No, tomorrow's
Yeah.
Monday.
I don't want to worry about that. I don't, like I said again, I hadn't worked in a long time. Like I said, I was taking my mom for a long time, and then
Hmm.
it's hard to find anything. Especially, I have a pacemaker, and most places I kind of hesitate when you hire you. You have something like this in your chest. Had for
Uh,
almost 11 years because I used to work a lot. Like I said, I was working since I was 10, 11 years old, doing like little
mhm.
field work when I was younger, and then I got my first job at 16, and then working
Mhm.
in textiles and working in the club and working where I got a heart attack was when I was working in a food processing factory. And I thought
Ooh.
I had a cold. And I went to my sister's, she lives the next town over. And so we go to the hospital. I went to urgent care and told me, well, we'll see you to the hospital. And then they told me I had a heart attack on my job.
Ooh, shit. Wow.
Yeah. I thought I was had a cold. I thought you had targets like you remember old Sanford Son, I come to join you, Elizabeth. I thought we one of those. But when I
Mhm.
took care of my mother, I had to take care of myself. And then I've been a fan of vitamin for a long time, especially as again, y'all ladies, y'all excite me. And doing this content, it really helped me while I was taking care of her. And talking
Mhm.
to you like yourself, and hearing your stories and sharing it out here because people need to understand. This is one thing. I would like to people be more educated about what's involved, what makes you a competitor, what makes you a woman getting into a sport like this, where again,
Mhm.
it's a very extreme sport, it's very masculine sport, and you're changing the aspects what's considered feminine.
And as far as like what got me into it and things like that, is that
Just me talking.
that's a lot of goodness. Just learning how to take care of my body, learning how to eat, learning how to train. And now, like once I turned 40, I started seeing, most of my classmates and stuff that I went to school with and how they hadn't taken care of themselves. And because I happened to start this at a really good point when I was about 30 years old, I'm seeing that I'm not aging the same way. It's helped me stay very young and mobile and stuff like that. I mean, I see many people my age that have severe knee problems, hip problems, joint issues and back problems and stuff like that that have been caused by, sitting at desks and working and commuting and things like that. And it just gave me a whole new outlook on everything and gave me balance to my day job and the sedentary nature. So I sit all day. I almost need something extreme to counteract that. that's part of the appeal to it for me, if that makes any sense.
That's understandable because I'm telling you the truth. I worked up 10 years on concrete, and concrete doesn't bend. You
No.
know, uh, you doing a job where you're doing a lot of. When I left my job, I was throwing pork shoulders into a big old vat, and the guy said it was going fast enough for him. So you know what? I just turned 40 that day. That was the
Hmm.
day of my 40th birthday. I'm going to be 51 in November, and I can tell you your body sometimes it gets to the point where you know what I got to take care of myself. Jobs can come and go. If we can find a way to make a living, that's good. Other than
Hmm.
that, I got to take care of myself because if I
Hmm.
don't, one of these days, I had classmates that died that was like my age or even younger
Hmm.
because the stress of like again well me again I don't have these responsibilities of taking care of a family. I just got me. I was taking care of my mom. I was even help raising my one of my nephews. He was autistic,
Hmm.
but I have me to take care of now, and then I have to step back. So you know what? I don't have to worry about anybody else, and I have to find ways to, help me throughout the day. Like I try to move around a little bit, but sometimes, like I say, my knees
Hmm.
are kind of funny, and it takes a lot to maintain a discipline. And again, I don't have that discipline like some of y'all ladies do. Y'all, I gotta respect y'all discipline because this could be things like yesterday my sister came and visit me, her and my niece, and
Hmm.
she went shopping and she had a cinnabon. I finished it today. I didn't eat it all last night, but I finished it
Right.
today. You know, because there's so many temptations out there in the world.
There are a lot of temptations, and I won't say I don't eat them or anything bad or anything like that. I've had cookies today, for example. I usually have cookies or candy pretty much on a daily basis in the off season. I'm fortunate. I'm at the point in my bodybuilding career. I have a lot of muscle, so I burn through things very rapidly right now. It wasn't always like that, and I had to be very careful coming off of shows. But now I mean, I probably eat about 3,000 calories a day in the off season. It's a lot. I have a high metabolism, but still, that's a lot of food that I got to put down to hold this muscle.
Yeah, that's the thing. The food is necessary to hold the muscle. Like,
Hmm.
and also, it's not that far from holidays. Like, what about your family? Because holidays come around the corner. Like, your mom, your dad, they could say, "Hey, baby, come in here to have the holiday with us, Thanksgiving, Christmas."
Well, I'm the only person in my family who can cook. So, guess where they come for the holidays? My mother figured out I could cook in elementary school, so I've been pretty much cooking since then. Sorry, that made me laugh a little bit at the thought of my parents preparing a holiday meal because
Oh
they're
yeah.
just like, when is dinner? So,
Is your parents named the Bundys?
no, no Broadwater, but you're close. It's similar type of thing.
You're like I saw the peg,
Oh,
rub
goodness.
my tushy out. That's what I mean.
That's
My
funny.
well, I had to learn to cook too, but my mom, she used to. My mom was a sister. She burned. She had to raise not only me but
Mhm.
grandkids and kids, I miss. That's what I miss so much. I miss those days. I had a woman. I got off my job. My brother used to be here before I got here. He'd be sitting there at the table and say, "Oh, ready to eat, house?" I said, "Yeah." We got. Say me anything, But yeah, it's good that they still come together and hang with you. I
Mhm.
know you got to cook all this food. I can't eat that because I'm on prep now. I got to get ready for the next season. I can't indulge like all y'all, but it's good that they support your bodybuilding passion.
My family is an interesting story if you want to go down that path. So I'll say this year,
Interesting.
I did the Maryland Night of Champions this year, right? That was the first time I've actually competed in my hometown in about 10 years. And it was the first time my dad's really seen me on stage in my 15-year career. My mother has never seen me. But like I said, my mother that's a whole nother story right there. You're gonna have to schedule another weekend for that one.
I got time. I got no place to
It's,
go.
we just clash. We'll leave it at that without airing too much dirty laundry.
I
So.
understand. I've had ladies tell me that sometimes, especially with the
Mhm.
parents, especially traditional kind of parents saying like, especially the mother saying, "Sweetheart, I don't want you to be all muscular and built like a man.
Mhm.
I want you to be happy, me find a man and have babies." Or you have dad say like, "Well, I got your brother. I don't need another boy." So I think with them, it's just about. It's good that your dad did come because you know what, it's good that he took time to support you. Like their
He
mothers,
did.
yeah, mothers sometimes, like I said, they want their daughters to be, but fathers, this thing is, as a son, mothers and sons are best friends with relationships. Fathers and daughters, they're have a relationship because that's the first man you
Mhm.
ever love in your life. He's the one that
Mhm.
set the standard for everything else. And for us boys, our mother's the first one. My mother was my woman, and when she got
Mhm.
sick, I said, you know what, I gotta take care of my woman. You know,
Mhm.
but it's good that he was there. I don't know. I know some situation you got to think about it. You're at the show. Here's your daughter. She's like nice, this nice body coming out there on stage. Yeah, that's my baby. And some guy say, "Yeah, that's your baby. I'll make her my baby. Hey, that's my daughter." But it's
Well,
just
that would actually be my mother doing the beating up. The roles are a little reversed right there.
your
Or
mother. Like,
probably me first, but they would probably be saying something.
yeah,
My dad is a wonderful man. He's a very cool dude, but he's Joe Cool is kind of like the way I would describe him. Just real mellow and everything. Laid back, doesn't get upset. He wasn't remotely offended when he came and saw me at the show. He didn't seem upset or uncomfortable or anything like that. But I'm doing figure. Like I'm not doing like a sexier category. If you get me, like I don't, you know what I mean? Like I'm not in bikini or wellness or the things like that. And those girls are
hey,
beautiful, but it's definitely more sensual when they pose and stuff like that.
hey, y'all ladies and figure, y'all just as sexy too. Because, like I said, I've been
We
doing this
are,
for a
yeah.
while, and I've been interviewing quite a few ladies and figure. Good part of it was I have maybe a little bit more in physique and women's body, but
Mhm.
even I've interviewed ladies in bikini, and yes, there's some ladies in bikini. I'm not a big fan of division, but there's some. I'm still a man, and if and I'm like I gotta say it. It may not be the '80s, but I'm down with the ladies. So yeah. So, folks, we're not going to hold Rebecca too long. I mean, her story about how she got into sport, her life, everything is very interesting. Maybe in the future, might do a part two, and maybe indulge a little bit
Uh,
on,
Rolling into the next season or something like that.
yeah. Talk about what your plans are, what you're gonna do. I mean, as you know, this year figures lost a few shows. I mean, I've seen that physique. They had some shows dropped. There was a show in Daytona. They dropped it, and the
Mhm.
Legion dropped it. I mean, it seems like just like physique and women's bodybuilding, figures starting getting that stick eyes. Even we don't have the Arnold anymore.
Mhm. That was I went to the Arnold Amateur twice, and I loved going to the Arnold. So I won't say I wasn't a little disappointed that I wouldn't have a chance to hit that stage. There's lots of shows though, so it's you take it and just keep on rolling. It's you can't really do anything, and you find one that you can compete in. You travel if you want to. So I kind of have started looking at it like an opportunity to see new cities. So anytime I go to a show location, like last year in Sarasota, I took a couple extra days and went to the beach. This year, and when I went to Pittsburgh, which is actually it's a pretty city. I like going to Pittsburgh. Took an extra day and hung out and stuff like that. It was Labor Day, just mellowed out a little bit and then drove home. So kind of look at the
Well,
positive side of it.
I mean, I've been to two bodybuilding shows since I did this. I went to my first show was in Savannah in 2022. It was great. Only problem was I missed my train back, but thank God my niece lived in Atlanta. She drew all the way to get me take her uncle back home.
Mhm.
And it was just last month I went to the Tampa Bay Pro, and for me it was a great experience meeting
Mhm.
people. I mean, even I met a, a real certified celebrity. I was working with my friend Eunice in her Bad Roof booth, and it was like I was only staying for a couple of days because I was going to leave that. Was that I think it was that I was going to leave that Friday afternoon,
Mhm.
and there was this guy walking around, and he was an older dude. And Peter attention him at first, and then when I was at the booth sitting just chilling and you look at my phone, I looked at his face. I recognized who he was.
Mhm.
It was one legendary Diamond David Lee Roth.
Um,
Yes, I like I said, I know my brother, but I remember Jump when it came out. It was one of those few songs that crossed over into the urban market because
Mhm.
Eddie used to play a sympathizer, and he usually don't play in rock. That's not very rock music like. But
Mhm.
to see him and to talk to him, say he's a fan of bodybuilding, and and just it was for me, it was a great experience to go there, and
Mhm.
I would like to go there more in the future. Here we get here, my man. Shout out to my man Rick. He says this. He says, "You figure is full of baddies," and yeah, and also he says, my man Alex says, "I enjoyed Rebecca's story. I was interested in," he said again, I guess to the block,
Right.
it's in supporting other divisions. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know,
There's always a fit for everybody, you know.
Yeah. And like I said, when I started this out, being that I was a fan of women's bodybuilding, but now I've expanded my interests into other divisions like,
Hmm.
physique and figure. Couple of interviews I had with bikini. Many of them were more older, more mature competitors, and some
Hmm.
amateurs and wellness. A couple of ladies who are amateur fit models. I'm like I said, I'm open to hear anybody's story because you know what, I would love someday to have Andrea on here. I mean, it's my dream. This is true story. My friend Eunice, when she was at the Olympia back in 2023, when I said had I love the ring style because, as my other half says, if you get something, never do it for free. And this is what I call payment because some ladies send me some stuff every now and then. And my friend Eunice, this was like a couple years right before, just a little after my birthday, she sent me this. It's
Hmm.
the last issue of Muscle Development. Andrea's on the cover. What makes it just special on her being on the cover is that the fact is she took time out. She saw Andrea at the Olympia that year,
Hmm.
and Andrea signed it.
Oh wow.
And she thanked me for my support, and that's why I love her. I'm going to marry her someday if she let me.
You
I
will.
think I hope so, But sometimes I got other dudes out there want to work with my girl. Hey, 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 hey. But doing this content, I'm just a fan of y'all ladies. I admire your work, your commitment, and yes, as a man, yes, I admire your bodies too. I can't avoid that part either. But I understand what drives you for you because you love the sport because it's a passion sport. You got to have a
Mhm.
passion for it because again, there's not a lot of residuals coming out of it unless you're the lucky few.
No, it's you definitely have to enjoy it, and you have to enjoy the whole package of it and see the big picture of everything and what it's getting you. Like it's especially like I'm turning 45 next year, so especially thinking that I'm like, this is just keeping me young. This is maintaining my youth and things like that. So why would I not want to keep doing this? It's a wonderful thing. It's not a bad thing at all.
Yeah, folks for you. She's 45. I thought she was 35. I said, yeah.
I
So yeah.
appreciate that.
Nah,
That
nah,
doesn't
miss.
ever get old. So
Man, I'm a Southern gentleman. It's my pleasure to tell a lady that she's beautiful. That's just me. But I think yeah, like I said again, some ladies I've seen ladies who were in I actually I had just an interview with a couple, and her husband competes as a. He also competed at the weekend at the match. His name is Greg Larson and his wife Chio, and they were both competing. She made her debut at the show. Greg is 65 years old. He
wow.
does masters. No, he does masters men's classic and men's physique. I met
Hmm.
him when Tampa. His wife was competing at the amateur part of Tampa. He was competing the pro part. I asked her, "How are you, sir?" "Oh, I'm 65." I said, "Really? I thought you were my age. I'm 50." This man is, he served our country in the Air Force. I pick him on that, but
Hmm.
it's unbelievable how this sport, even though it doesn't stop Father Time, it can halt him a little bit.
Exactly. Fountain of youth. All you got to do is go to the gym and eat right.
Go to
That's it.
Jimmy, right? That's the hard part. Some people don't. Hey, sometimes that Twinkie be calling your name. Be like Pookie New Jack City. They be calling me, man. They be calling me,
And you
calling
can
me, calling.
still have it. You can still have it, just not all the time. That's all.
Yes, your moderation is very important. Shout out to my man here, KL, the one coming through. He says she looks 25.
I like you too. You're my new favorite.
Well, he
I don't
does
look
content.
25, but thank you.
Well, he does content also on bodybuilding. Maybe he might reach out for an interview later. He wants to smooth things out real good. So we're not gonna hold much longer. And we do appreciate time to give us. She's a busy lady. She got to do nerd stuff.
I actually
but
do,
she
but yes.
yeah, but she's a pretty nerd. She sure is pretty. But I will say this: anybody interested in following her process and also her career in bodybuilding, reach out and genuine interest and also support. As again, this sport is financially a lot for anybody. But if you're someone who has a plan that works with her and something that she can use to help her in her process, reach out and genuine interest. But don't be that guy say, "Hey, Rebecca, I seen you in your interview. You got those nice curls and like that. I want to take it." Hey, you sick freak. Stop that.
I've gotten pretty good at weeding out the ones with the fetishes.
Yeah, stop that. This is what you do. You say, "Mrs. Broadwater, we are very interested about your intelligence and also your experience in software. Maybe it's helped you in process. So if you might be interested in being a part of our company as ambassador and also maybe helping us out, maybe helping establish a new kind of plan or idea for bodybuilding, which you are control of the creative part of it, but still we have to get our part of it. So let us know, and if it's something that helps in your process and you think something's agree on, then we can set it up for the future. Would you be interested in, madam?
Hmm. Absolutely.
Sign the contract, baby. So, but I do hope truthfully that as you know, you do masters, so that's maybe a future chance because you can do 40, 45, and 40.
Hmm.
Maybe
And
go to master.
35.
Yeah,
I was
you can
told
do.
I can still do open. Like that's what the judges said to me because my skin is still nice.
Yeah,
So,
because
but I have to put on some size. That's the real reason I'm building up my legs is so I can be more competitive in the open too.
yeah, I know some ladies who I see that you can do open, but nah, I feel more comfortable like eating this. No, you look great. You should this, if you understand you feel one feel comfortable to compete with somebody in your age group, but it never hurts. You see how you do because I just saw a lady who shouldn't have played so well above a lady that I know that should have played a little better, and she's at least 50, and
Hmm.
but the thing is, it's just about what the judges see and their
Hmm.
critique. That's really it's all based on what you believe works for you.
Yep.
And if you and like I said again, you want to do open, that's fine. But you still want to do masters, that's fine. With open, you don't have to pay to play. It's there because you just got signed a contract.
Hmm.
But you know what? It's about what you find that helps you as you grow and as you develop in the sport.
Exactly. And being around the youngins makes me want to work harder to stay young.
Yeah, because after a while, sometimes the youngins, like I ran into Paula Ranta when I was at Tampa, and some people said, "How's she doing like 6 shows? She's 25 years old. What do you expect? She's 25. She's still you remember Martin like the episode with Jerome Cole said he's still wet behind the ears and breast smell like Similac. She's
I mean, age isn't a bad thing in bodybuilding. Mature muscle is harder and looks better. So
yeah.
there are benefits to being older and having been lifting for so long.
Yeah, I'm like I look at Andrea. She's like in her early 40s, and and other ladies who look
Exactly.
amazing. But then again, that being 25, you remember when we were 25, you can go all day, all night. But then, like I
Mhm.
said, I'm already half a century old, and you're not too far behind me.
And it's a blink of an eye when that happens.
You wake
Well,
up and say, you wake up, you're like I used to run out there and watch cartoons, and now I got to pay bills. Bills. Water's supposed to be free. So but
you find recovery is much more important when stuff
yeah.
like that as you age.
Yeah, but that's part of life. It's part of being
It is.
adult. And it's just things to think about fondly when we were young. It's something to think about it. But now we have to push forward
Hmm.
and we have to grow as beings, as people.
Hmm.
It's just about life.
Hmm. That's very true.
Yeah. So, ma'am, we're not gonna hold you much longer. So, you have, I'm asking this question: what would you want out of bodybuilding for yourself towards the future?
What do I want out of bodybuilding, like for my future?
Yeah.
I mean, it would definitely be a dream come true to hit a Masters Olympia. That's kind of what I'm aiming for. Of course, Olympia would be, I'd probably have to like resuscitate me or something if I made it Olympia. Yeah, I know. I mean, go get the defibrillator and shock me or something along those lines. But that would be very cool to do. I like it to keep me young. It keeps me going, and it keeps me, so I can do things that people my age usually can't do. So I want to be able to take care of my dad when he gets older and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's good. It's like I said, there's benefits to it, and but
mhm,
also you have to be able to stick to the discipline, stick to the plan. As my other
mhm.
guy says, he just says, "I don't have a plan, Rebecca. I'm just a dog chasing cars. If I get one, I don't know what to do with it. And before I leave you again, Rebecca, I want to tell you, can you be my Holly Quinn? Because you are beautiful." I'm sorry about him. I got. I'm seeing a specialist about him, but he completes me. So. So
That's okay. We all got a little bit of alter ego in us. So,
yeah, I got quite a few. He's one of the more dominant egos than anything. So, man, before we let you go, do you have anybody you want to give a shout out to?
oh goodness, everybody, all my friends and stuff who put up with my less than stellar attitude in prep sometimes and support me anyway and are patient with me. I appreciate y'all. Love you all. So, on to next year and on to the next off season. So,
That's good. That's good that you have because I've talked to ladies that sometimes when you get in sport, friendships change because they don't
oh, they
understand
do.
it. Yeah, because you can't go out and say, "Hey, Rebecca, we're gonna go to the bar. You want to come with us?" Nah, I can't come. I gotta go to
Mm-mm.
sleep. You got things you got to do. I mean,
Circle
I've
changes. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. And it gets
yeah.
smaller too, much smaller.
But the thing is, it's not about the quantity of people in your life; it's about the quality of people in your life. Those people that
Yes.
understand who you are and what you do and what you're focused on, where you want to
Mhm.
go. You want to shoot for the Olympia, that's a possibility. But if you master O, that's great. I know you had in Japan last year. We had a couple some of the ladies from there talk about their experience. Maybe they're
Mhm.
having. I think you should have it here in the States because there's more shows here than it is overseas. But I think just want to travel around, see how it does. I mean, they had in Romania last in 2023, had
Mhm.
Japan this year. Maybe you might bring it in the States. They might have maybe someplace in Great Britain or whatever. But you know, it's about the adventure of the sport more than
Mhm.
anything.
It is. It is. And it's been quite an adventure.
Yeah, it's like it's not a job; it's an adventure. Like you know. All right, folks. We do like to thank Rebecca for coming in and sharing her story. If you want to follow her, links description of this live stream. I want to shout out to my guests out here, my man my man KL the Wanderer, my little brother here, Alex, my man Rick Hagen. Shout out also to all you who watch this video live. Support, follow these ladies, reach out in genuine interest. Don't be
Mhm.
that weird guy. I know you guys. We see these ladies on the stage and they're buffed out and they're muscular and they're all like that. But understand what it took them to get there: the rest, the recovery, the being hungry, being tired,
Mhm.
really so much risk with little reward. Respect that part. And yes, you can enjoy the ladies covered in tan oil and looking like goddesses. But you know. Shout out, this is my man Brooke Burrell. I hadn't seen him for a long time. Brooke, he says, Big Brother G. Hey there, Big Brother, Little Brother B. So, ma'am, again, I appreciate you opportunity to sit and talk with me. I
Mhm.
wish you all the best of luck in this
Thank
next
you.
year and this rest of this year. Tell your pappy that he has a nice daughter. And
I will.
tell your mama she needs to cook for the holidays.
Oh, we don't want her to do that. I'm more than happy to do the cooking.
All righty then.
All right.
Let's
Thank you for
see.
having me.
No problem, man. The quote from my favorite hero, The Dark Knight, says, "You never have to." That's why I do this. To give y'all ladies, to give somebody a perspective of who you are and what makes you you, and respect your focus on this sport. Because, like I said again, this sport, you ladies need a lot more recognition compared to the guys, the banana hammers, and boy shorts.
Mhm. It's harder for women. Yes, I agree. So we
Yeah,
appreciate you. Thank you for the support.
I say, well, I love y'all. Like my brother love comment, but yeah, I do appreciate y'all, and I hope all the best for you and in your future.
Thank you.
All right. Anyway, folks, I'd like to thank my guests for here, and also lovely Mrs. Rebecca Broadwater. Support her, follow her in the links. Don't be the weird guy, and also be respectful. This is your man on the way George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Don't like, subscribe. I'm out. Good night, good luck, and God bless.